happy to welcome you all today for this songwriting masterclass with one of the greatest songwriters that Britain's produced. So join me in welcoming Chris Difford.
I lived on an estate, and there was a gang of boys that I used to hang around with, and they were all into the Who and the Small Faces, which was more aggressive. And I got mixed up in a local gang around Greenwich, and I started to play the tennis racket really well. Leaping around with a tennis racket and being Pete Townsend, and then that rapidly came to wanting to be in a band. Yeah. And before I knew where I was saving up for my first amp. And I was writing songs quite early on, and that was kind of confusing for my mates, because all my mates were beating other kids up. And I said, no, I can't do that, I'm going home to write a song. And they think I was weird.
Yeah. It didn't go down well with the gang then?
It didn't go down very well, but I don't know where they are now. They're in prison and I'm here.
That tension that kind of provokes?
Well, with Glenn and I, there's definitely conflict. It's true to say that we've been together for 36 years and only really spoken for 2.5 of those 36 years. Most of the time when he and I were writing songs, we never talked about it. So, I would get a cassette with the song on it, we'd go in the studio, we'd record it, but we'd never question why. We just do it. In fact, yesterday I was in Glenn's studio doing some singing, and it brought me back to those days when we'd record something like Pulling Muscles from Michelle or Take Me, I'm Yours, and nobody would question anything, they'd just do it. There was no philosophy to be found. It just fell naturally that that's what you did between a certain time of the day, and then you went to the pub. So, there was no philosophy behind it.
I think it's a good point. If you would mind playing us one of those early Squeeze tracks.
Take Me, I'm Yours was written, our first manager was a guy called Miles Copeland, and he was famously known for managing the Police and Sting. He now manages belly dancers. I don't know where he went wrong. But I was living around at his house, and his mother's a famous archaeologist, and she had all these artifacts from the Middle East, and for some mad reason my imagination went off down that road. So. I've come across the desert to greet you with a smile. My camel looks so tired, it's hardly worth my while to tell you of my travels across the golden east. I see your preparations, invite me first to feast. Take me, I'm yours, because dreams are made of this. Forever there'll be a heaven in your kiss. Take me, I'm yours, because dreams are made of this. Forever there'll be a heaven in your kiss.
So, has your process changed over the years? Because I mean, when you started writing, there were no computers; it was pen and paper. Now you've got the iPhone, and you can whiz things down the line. Obviously, it's changed. Has it become easier or more difficult now, more complex?
All my original lyrics were written with a pen, handwritten. And I used to write them down and give them to Glenn or give them to Jules. And then in I think it was 1987, around that time, Apple brought out the first laptop. and I've been addicted to laptops ever since. And I now I've always used the computer since then to write my lyrics. That way people can actually read what I've written. My spelling can get checked for me. But funnily enough, both Glenn and Jules have requested that when I write with them this year that I write things down. They want me to go back to the handwritten lyric. And I find it really difficult. I don't know if anybody else finds this, because of the computer and the way it's developed in our lives. I find it really hard to write a whole page of A4 now. You know, when dogs sort of, their back legs go like that, they shake. Well, I get like that. You know, I kind of, it will sort of shaky.
Favourite lyric you've written, and what's the favourite lyric you haven't written?
Cool. I think that's a difficult question. I'm very proud of Battersea Boys because, you know, it's not really my lyric; it's Jim's lyric. I'm just sort of translating it for him. So I'm proud of that. But I suppose one of the most spiritual lyrics I've ever written was one about a friend of mine who died of cancer, and that's a song called "Some Fantastic Place." And that she died, and I wanted to write something for her, and I sat up. One of my kids at the time had a school desk, and like an old-fashioned school desk, and I sat at the school desk with a pen and a piece of paper. Sun was coming through the window. I just wrote the lyric from beginning to end, and it was just like an amazing time. And the lyric I wished I'd written, I suppose, God, that's really, really difficult. I guess Waterloo Sunset, because it's so London and it's so beautiful and it's so coverable, it's so simple. The poetry of it runs like the river itself. You know, that's the lyric that's the kind of lyric that inspires me. But most recently, there's a guy called Chris Wood, who's a folk artist, and he's been putting across some really amazing songs, and I really recommend you to listen to him.
Sorry, I was wondering, you know when you write your lyrics, sometimes you can just like get a block. Do you go on to something else and then come back to it, or do you just like work it through? Like, how do you like stop getting like kind of writer's block kind of thing?
Oh, a writer's block. Well, touch wood. I'll touch this beautiful guitar. I don't get writer's block very often, and if I do, there's one cure for it, and that's put the kettle on, make a bit of cheese on toast. By the time you come back, the block's gone.
How often do you throw a lyric away or throw a song away, or when do you get to the point where you think, I can't do any more with this, this has to be chucked away?
Well, I have a couple of files on my MacBook, and basically there's a file with master lyrics, which is the lyrics that, like these ones that I've sent to people. And what I do is I create a website, and I put the lyrics up on the website, and I send the link to the person I'm writing to, and then they get to choose from the sort of 10 or 12 lyrics that are on that particular website. And then I have a file which is sort of almost RANs, and they just sit in that file until the next time I come to write. I look through them, and if there's something in there that's worth developing, then I'll go back to it. But 9 times out of 10, once they reach that file, they very rarely go back into the other one.
Well, thanks for coming in today, Chris.
Thank you, I've really enjoyed it. Thanks for turning up. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, double Ivor Novello winner, local Greenwich lad, all-round good egg.
Cheers.
Chris Difford.
Thank you. Thank you. My heart has a flutter, words start to stutter. I'm crazy for the boy in his Cadillac. By the diner steps, Cowboys are my weakness.